Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Monday, October 7th, 2019, and today we're going to look at the 2020 electoral map based off the 2018 House of Representatives election results. So I've done a video like this before, but I did it based off a state-by-state basis in terms of a winner-take-all system. This time I will be doing it exactly how the states of Nebraska and Maine divide up their electoral votes when it comes down to the presidential elections. If you're not familiar with how they do it, the states of Nebraska and Maine have their each congressional district vote for a specific candidate. Sometimes they agree and sometimes they don't. And then the overall statewide vote allocates their two electoral votes that come from the senator number, whatever, that go over to the winning candidate. So, for example, the state of Nebraska in the year 2008 had one congressional district vote for President Barack Obama. Two of the other ones went for John McCain. The overall state vote went for John McCain, so John McCain got 4 out of the 5 electoral votes, and Obama got 1. In 2016, the state of Maine, one congressional district went to Donald Trump, 1 went to Hillary Clinton, but the first district number of Hillary Clinton votes outweighed the overall number of Donald Trump votes, so the state of Maine itself, it's 3 out of its 4 electoral votes went to Hillary Clinton and 1 went to Donald Trump. So this is a very interesting way of figuring out the electoral map. It's something that has been discussed before to come into an actual, idea for a revamp of the Electoral College, as it may seem that it may represent more of the electorate. However, the issue of gerrymandering definitely plays in here. Some states where Republicans or Democrats may win the statewide vote but may not win the majority of representative districts just because of how the districts have been drawn. That's going to be a case. So the thing about the Electoral College, it negates all types of gerrymandering because it is a state-by-state winner-take-all basis. But if this was to actually be implemented, there are pros and cons. But it's definitely not. It's definitely not going to actually be implemented anytime soon. So let's go ahead and just take a look. Let's actually go ahead and type in Donald Trump's name here, so we can just go ahead and get that out of the way. I'm not going to pick a Democratic nominee because it's very, very contested right now. It's leaning towards Elizabeth Warren. But again, nothing's guaranteed until the actual season begins. But we're going to be doing this in alphabetical order. Yesterday, I did it from West Coast to East Coast. Let's just go ahead and go to alphabetical order and skip over the swing states. So Alabama pretty much stayed the same. It was 8 for Donald Trump and 1 for the Democrat. Essentially, I will be giving the extra 2 electoral votes to whichever political party wins the majority of districts. So, for example, Alabama, it was a 6-1 in the House races, which is what I'm basing this off of 2018 results, as I said, which means that Alabama would actually give 2 more electoral votes to Donald Trump than the overall expected 6. So, for example, the state of Alaska has 1 congressional district, which went to the Republican. Alaska goes towards the Republican Party with 3 votes at this time. The state of Arizona has 5 representatives from the Democrats, so that actually bumps them up to 7, and that would give Donald Trump 4 electoral votes. So actually, Arizona goes to the Democratic Party, which is pretty interesting. I said I was going to skip swing states. I guess I'll leave in the state of Arizona, just because I completely forgot about that. Arkansas has 4 representatives from the Republican Party, all 4 of them. So that means they'll get all of the 6 electoral votes to Donald Trump. In the state of California, the Democrats did pretty well. They actually increased their majority by 7 seats in the state of California alone, which gave them 46 seats, which gives them 48 electoral votes, and that gives Donald Trump still 7. So he's still getting something from a pretty large state. Going over to the state of Colorado, the Democrats got 4 representative districts here, which means that they will get 6 electoral votes, and Donald Trump will get 3. Again, I don't know why I keep filling that in. I said I wouldn't cover that. I wouldn't. You know what? Let's just go ahead and go through it. Swing states, whatever. I'll just go ahead and go through it just because it's completely coming out, whatever. But Connecticut, all 7 electoral votes go to the Democrats. I don't know why I clicked that one. Delaware, 3 electoral votes for the Democrats. Again, 1 representative district goes to the Democratic Party. The Republican majority in Florida went from 16 to 11 down to 14 to 13, so still contested, but The Democrats do end up behind here, so they only get 13 electoral votes. Donald Trump, on the other hand, gets 16, which adds another state to the Trump column. But also, this is a proportional district, so it doesn't really matter how many states you win. The Republican Party majority went from 10 to 4 to 9 to 5 in the state of Georgia. 6th district was actually pretty interesting, considering that someone who won in the most expensive House race in history with so much Democratic support lost in 2018. Karen Handel in the 6th district. That's pretty interesting to me. I want to see how that one turns out in 2020. Hawaii, all 4 electoral votes, of course, go to the Democrats. Let me go ahead and make sure that this map doesn't move too much, because it's kind of annoying when it does. In the state of Idaho, 2 districts go for the Republicans, which means that all 4 will go to Donald Trump. What's interesting is that the 1st district actually went to a Democrat back in 2008. That's how much. There were other factors included, but Obama definitely had a very large wave across the entire nation to a point where Idaho actually elected a Democrat. The Democratic majority in Illinois went from 11 to 7 to 13 to 5. So that gives 15 for the Democrats and 5 for the GOP. Going over to the next state of Indiana, it remained at 7 to 2, so 9 to 2 essentially, with these added electoral votes in favor of the GOP. Iowa actually flipped from 3 to 1 for the Republicans to 3 to 1 for the Democrats. So the Democrats actually get 5 electoral votes here, and Donald Trump gets 1. That's also pretty interesting. Over in the state of Kansas, it went from 4 to 0 to 3 to 1. So we actually have 1 electoral vote for the Democrats, 5 for the GOP. In the state of Kentucky, nothing changed. So 7 for Donald Trump and 1 for the Democrats. Going over to Louisiana, 5 to 1, so 7 to 1 in this scenario. This would be pretty interesting to see this actually play out on election night. They would actually be calling congressional districts. So it would be pretty interesting. Maine went from 1 to 1 to 2 to 0 in favor of the Democrats. So they actually win all 4 electoral votes there. In my home state of Maryland, 7 to 1, so 9 to 1. Pretty gerrymandered here, to be completely honest. In Massachusetts, Democrats win all of the electoral votes. The thing about Massachusetts is it's not gerrymandered. I mean, to an extent, but even if they drew fair districts, fair meaning it would be done by an independent committee, the Democrats would still win every congressional district, because Republicans are so spread out that it just wouldn't make sense. You could draw one, but it would just be heavily gerrymandered in favor of the Republicans, and they'd still only get 1. Michigan's an exact tie, so let's go ahead and split this up 8 to 8. Interesting here, the Republicans held a majority here prior to 2018, which is the case for a couple of states. Minnesota, half of the seats switched parties. The Democrats remained in the same majority, so that's also pretty interesting. Where Republicans lost, Democrats won, and were Democrat. Yeah, that makes sense. But oops, I don't know why I did not mean to do that. But 7 for the Democrats and 3 for Donald Trump. Let's go ahead and hit Mississippi. The Democrats get 1 here, so 5 for the GOP and 1 for the Democratic Party. Missouri 6 to 2, so the Democrats get 2 and the Republicans get 8. Montana, again, some of these are pure, actually sole congressional districts. So I'm actually going to characterize those now, because we really don't need to hit those later, because we know how those are going to end up, because they have 1 singular representative. In the state of Nebraska, 3 to 0. There was a point in time where Democrats did have that 2nd district, but that is not the case this time. In the state of Nevada, it's 3 to 1, so essentially 5 to 1. We're going to go ahead and hit some big states soon. Democrats were actually able to pick up, well, actually, no. They were able to hold on to 2 of the 2 representative districts, even though the Cook PVI in New Hampshire 1 is R+2. In the state of New Jersey, the Democrats went from 7 to 5 in terms of a majority to 11 to 1. So that is a huge increase for Democrats, which means they get 13 out of the 14 electoral votes, but that's sole representative. It's pretty upset going back all alone. In the state of New Mexico, the Democrats were able to carry all 3 seats, so all 5 electoral votes. In the state of New York, it went from 18 to 9 to 21 to 6. So let's go ahead and characterize 23 electoral votes for the Democrats and 6 for Donald Trump. Going over to the state of North Carolina, that 9th district held a pretty interesting result. But overall, let's see, there weren't any pickups, I don't believe. Yes, there were no pickups. So this is a very heavily gerrymandered state. The Democrats won the popular vote in the state itself, if you count only contested races, but the Republicans still ended up with 10 seats compared to 3, which is absolutely insane. North Dakota, we have characterized. Ohio maintained the same at 12-4, so essentially 14-4, which is pretty interesting. I expected a little bit better for Democrats there. In Oklahoma, it actually, surprisingly, the Democrats won one seat that wasn't even characterized as likely. It was characterized as a safe Republican seat. The Cook PVI itself is R plus 10, and it was characterized as safe, but then the Democrat narrowly won. That is pretty insane. The Democrats in Oregon held on to 4-1, so let's go ahead and give 1 to Donald Trump and 6 for the Democrats. Pennsylvania actually brought it down to an exact tie, so let's go ahead and give 10 to the Democrats and 10 to the GOP. It went from 13-5 to 9-9. We're still not done with this electoral map in the state of Rhode Island. Vermont, I'm actually just going to characterize now because I don't want to keep dragging on this video. All 2 in the state of Rhode Island went for the Democrats, and the Democrats are inching a little bit closer, going over to South Carolina, 2 for the Democrats and 5 for essentially 7 for Donald Trump. In South Dakota, we've characterized that. Tennessee remains 7-2, so 9-2. And that leaves a couple of states out. We have Texas, only 2 gains for the Democrats, so they actually got 13 seats here. Donald Trump is going to get 25 here. That pushes them up way, way close. The Democrats as well, very close to the 270 mark. Utah, 3-1, so 1 for the Democrats and 5 for Donald Trump. Virginia remained, actually no, it flipped from 7-4 for a Republican majority to a 7-4 for Democratic majority. So this puts the Democrats over the top, over 270 at 272. Washington, they increased their majority to 7-3, which puts them at 9-3 in favor of the Democrats. West Virginia remained the same. Let's go ahead and characterize all of those for the GOP. Wisconsin remained the same at 5-3, so 7 for the Republicans and 3 for the Democrats. And that's pretty much it. So that's how the electoral map would turn out based off the 2018 House election results if it was a, I guess, Maine, Nebraska type vote nationwide. This is pretty interesting considering that Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania still aren't blue states, yet Iowa and Arizona end up being blue states. And just looking at some of these results and how they actually flipped, it is pretty interesting looking at this map going ahead to 2020. So thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I will see you all tomorrow.